Dawn, it is cold, isn't
It's
it?
really cold.
With the entire nation is cold, but particularly here in Texas, it's very cold. It's cold for us. It was like 19
Yes.
degrees. And there's someone
Yes.
here that does not like cold.
Anything below 85, not a fan of.
That's everyone. That's Dawn's limit. 85. That's it.
Yep.
Oh, well,
That's it.
I can't bring 85 back to you, but what we can do is use this as an opportunity to talk about a winter storm tabletop, not only for your household, but also for your business.
Welcome to the Raine Compliance Podcast with Rob and Dawn. We help growing teams reduce risks, build trust, and stay audit ready without the overwhelm.
First up, we know here in Texas we've had a ice storm. We don't really have snow; it's just ice. And we know impacted a region. Our team is scattered across the country and the globe. We'll just say there's some folks in some very nice islandy areas that are warm and 85. And here is not. But we're going to walk people through the process is what we did here at Raine to go ahead and prepare not only the house and their business, but also for our team. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan.
Does it sound like a plan? Where do you want to start?
Sounds like a plan. Oh, well, I think really, personally, well, if you work from home, I mean, getting your house set and winterized, if you will, so you can continue work from home. I think that's a good place to start. I know a lot of our customers are in the same boat. There are some that take trains in or drive in, that type of thing as well. But let's start with that. Just kind of getting your surroundings set so you can actually work, whether you're, whatever you do, whatever your industry is.
Yeah, I think the first thing
is ready to log in.
Get ready to log in. You're funny. Because, hey, I have something new before I get too far. Look what I got. I'm not bossy. I have leadership skills. You like that? Isn't that funny?
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's it. I don't know who got that to me. That's fun. Anyway, the cold also makes you delirious and get off script a little bit. But the first thing is power. You have all this conversations about internet and all this, but to me, it's power. How to make sure there's heat in the home or the office, right? Making sure, can we be online? Does the network have power? Does the heaters have power? The furnaces have power? Can we charge everything? So first up is just prepare for rolling power outages. That can be anywhere from, having a generator, like we have a generator, I could just turn it on and we've got power. Or you're going to go with battery backups, how far you can go with that. Or unfortunately, you just kind of wait, which is not really a good idea. So you need to plan for that, especially for your remote folks. So if you got everybody from remote operators to remote workers, do they have UPSs? Do you provide that? Do they need it? Also, can you just move the shift work as needed? Because things change quickly. The second piece there is internet. That's a big one, right, Dawn? Internet and cellular.
I don't know why this is an issue in 2026.
It's gotten better. So a backup, yes, you have to have a backup. So if you have actually hard fiber to your business or your home, you need to either have cellular, like a T-Mobile, or obviously there's all the others. Or do a Starlink. We've played with both, and they both work really well for everything from video calls to basic work and all that. We haven't had those issues, but those are things that you need to do. You've got to have internet and cellular stability. Now, what about when schools are closed? What are you going to do there?
Well, that means you're going to have a kid or kids in your house, so need to make sure that they're set and quiet, depending on what your day looks like, if you're on calls or that type of thing. In our case, school was out and, on video calls and making sure our son isn't, working out, behind me, showing his muscles of a 17-year-old boy, just making sure it's just, if the dogs are always, roaming around behind me, but just making sure you've got some, your area is secure, meaning it's kind of calm, it's quiet, so you can do your work. Some of us are used to working at home, like Rob and I. Some of us, this is going to be kind of a one-off. I can't get anywhere. The roads are closed, so I need to work at home. So just kind of preparing for this. Also, big thing is we all have phones, whether you're Apple, Android, whatever, or you just watch the news. We all know storms are coming. We all know things are coming. So prepare. Don't just go, oh, I have to go to the grocery store. It's the morning of. No, because you're going to find empty shelves, which I didn't because I planned a few days in advance. But as you know, people don't do that. They don't plan. So I highly recommend is kind of look at your phone. If you see some weather coming, you probably should get some things in order. Make sure everything is working, or make sure your battery backups are charged, or your generator, whatever it is, and they're ready to go and in good working order.
Yep. Those are the key pieces. And then making sure, just because your cloud systems are available does not mean people can access them. So you really have to make sure that you have internet backup. Can you run with a skeleton crew? Maybe half of your team doesn't need to be on, right? Maybe half of them are having power issues. So that's also where you have a little bit of grace and go, okay, get your house set, get things dialed in. We can roll work wherever you need. Those are the key things. But you mentioned a good part is important part, not a good part, is the weather advisory escalations and notices. Yes, I think in our last little winter storm, which is still rolling through the U.S. by the time we're recording this, there's still a lot of alerts out there. I see my little alert on my weather guy thingy on my computer right now, so it constantly alerts you. So you got to make sure that you're ready and prepared. You kind of know what's going on the best you can. So that's where we talked about tabletop exercises where Don and I kind of walk through. Okay, well, what happens if the power go out? Great, plug in the generator. Okay, that's good. Internet goes out. Well, we roll over we have a T-Mobile, hotspot that we can run the business on. And that'll go from there. And if that fails, then you go to Starlink, and then at least the business continues to go. And if all those fail, then I guess we just have margaritas.
No. Well, and you're missing a big important part too.
Yes.
It's not all about us being connected, right? I mean, obviously, we want to make sure that business continuity, that we're not, losing business. We can't take phone calls. We can't, but at the end of the day, if everyone has an outage, there's an outage. But let's also make sure you're taking care of yourself personally and your family. Do you have food? Do you have those buckets of food that you can buy at a Costco or Sam's? What if power goes out? We had this happen about 4 or 5 years ago. We had like boiling water notices. It was crazy,
it was
like
bad.
Backwoods crazy stuff. And so have those big jugs of water in your pantry. Have those boxes of food. They're not going to be great, but is it going to save your life? Yeah. So have some things like that, some foods that you don't need a microwave, you don't need a stove. Maybe have one of those portable grills with the propane, or portable stoves with the propane available that you use for camping. Like we don't camp anymore, but we have one of those in our garage and we still keep it. So just make sure that you're safe and you're healthy. You and your family are protected. Blankets, candles, things like that. So it's not just about, is the internet on and can I use my phone? It's also about making sure you can actually live through it. And hey, if you lose your phone access, not a bad thing to play games with your family, do puzzles, read. Yep. Yeah,
we played Uno.
So
we get some movies.
Uno,
play some
puzzles
Uno in there. We went sledding. The boy and I. Well, ice sledding, but it's sledding.
Tubing. Well, yeah.
Tubing. It was tubing. We did that.
Yeah, using pool tubes to
pool
snow.
It died, but I hurt my arm. It's okay though.
Oh.
Yeah,
you're
real sympathetic, aren't you?
Yes. Yes. So anyway, I digress. That's a mom thing. That's my mom's speech right there. Is get your water and your food ready,
speech.
Right? Sorry, but no. Really, getting into back to rather the tabletop. It's really important to do this. Hopefully, your leaders, your business owners, have thought this through and have a plan.
Well, yeah, and go through things. What if as storms go through the country, who's can be on, who's going to be off, and who activates a DR plan, and when someone is offline, what does that look like? That's the key. How do we back up? How do we get things going? Yep, and then make sure you have decision thresholds. So, like us for power, like food's a good point you mentioned. Yes, I was. Don says I'm dramatic. I don't think I am. But I was like, oh my gosh, we got to go to HEB. All the food is gone. What's going to happen? And you roll in, and what happened?
I get what I need. There was nothing gone, and I took care. I got it and left. But that being said, folks in Dallas up north, they got hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
So, they get snow up there. We just get ice. So, different around the country.
Yep, definitely. And as you go into, so you get an HEB, you got your food ready, we're ready to roll, and then you move into like that kind of like with phase 2, kind of that power loss, like workforce impact.
Yes.
So with our team, we use Slack, we communicate, hey, if you guys are without power or have problems coming Monday, or if you have teams that work over the weekend, just there's a team channel. Just notify, just let everybody know what's going on. And how it can help, because if you got to move work, you got to move work to who's available.
And that's another key point I want to make here is that we all are so connected. So Rob's saying, use Slack, use Teams, connect, text each other. Like, hang on. If your phone dies or something, do you have a landline? Do you have a way to contact your employees? Do you have phone numbers? On a, disaster recovery incident response plan, you should have a list of your employees' phone numbers. Usually their mobiles or their home phone, or whichever number is the number that is the one that they prefer you to use, that they can get a hold of you with. It may not always be the cell phone, but let's just remind ourselves that it isn't always like, oh, I'll send you an email or text you, because if there's no connectivity, you've got to think of other ways. So you got to really think about this. And I think a recommendation, and I find a lot of people do this, is they kind of do a fire drill, if you will, to start. They kind of do one to test it. And then they have all this report
pressure test
of all these of all these things that, oh, we didn't think about this. Oh, we should change this. So don't feel like you've got to be so prepared that your first test is going to be 100%. It's not going to be. You're going to find a lot of things that you don't have documented that need to be documented, that you need to think about. So I just kind of put that disclaimer in there. So
and you also have to, and you're right, you have to also anticipate what do your customers need? What's the customer demand, right? So like if you're an answering service, you're gonna get a lot of calls, a lot of people are closed, so you're gonna have higher volumes. You need to make sure people are available to work. If you're a medical clinic, you're probably closed. If you're an IT company, you're probably on call. Things happen, servers die and stuff goes down. If you're a SaaS company, you can probably work anywhere you want to. But making sure that as your customers need you, how do you take care of them? What are the steps? And then communicate that. All right. We didn't have any infrastructure issues here, so we're good. But who's to say we got another month of cold coming? So we could have issues. And if we do, how are we going to communicate that? Is it via email? Is it from, and if so, who on the team can do that and is authorized to do that? Or is it a banner on the website? You need to let your customers know what's going to go and how to take care of things, because you have to communicate expectations clearly and early. Don't just let it sit. Let it sit, and then also work with your IT, because if you have issues, when do you turn the generator on? When do you have to go to a secondary system or environment, or servers or cloud providers or systems to keep things going? So have those decision points. Those are really, really good.
Yep. Yeah, and brainstorm too. Brainstorm like what ifs, and that may be a good way to develop your plan or add to your plan. But also just to say, oh, I didn't think about this or think about that. I mean, you really got to think about this here. Like, put yourself in the moment. Get an ice storm and all the lines go down. What's the first thing you're going to do? Who are you going to call? What are you going to do? Are you going to stay in your house? Are you going to go to an apartment? Are you going to go to, call the ghost. Yeah, exactly. You're going to go to the local community center or church. What are you doing? How are you going to, this shelter, something like that? I mean, so kind of doing brainstorming, and the key is we want to do this before something happens. How many times a day or a week do we hear of news stories? I mean, it is unreal. This happened. Oh, we should have done more. We should have done better. then they say, oh, we had a disaster recovery. We're a this, we're a that. We've had that. Well, you didn't really think it through. So don't just put something together just because it looks good on paper and because it sounds good. Really work through it. And that's the goal for these tabletops, is do them annually, because you will find things that are going to be not applicable every year, that are going to change. And so let's be really focused and have really intentionality on this. It's not just a document, fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
That gets you started.
That gets you going.
But
yeah.
yeah.
And one thing to always think about too is your MFA bypass. So I've had this happen because how we set up our MFA is it's also geologically based. So if you're in a different region and try to log in, it's going to force you to get a new authentication mechanism, a new code, and go, hey, you were in Atlanta, now you're in Massachusetts. What are you going to do? Is that really you? You were there 2 hours ago. So make sure you have your backup codes, which you can do. Make sure you have someone on the team that can disable or enable that as needed. Yeah, because especially if you have folks working offshore, the platforms MFA is designed to look at your geographical location. If it keeps changing, it's going to actually lock you out. So you got to make sure somebody has the codes to get back in and deal with authentication issues. Nothing worse than not being able to log into your systems and all of that.
Yeah.
And then discussion points. Those are good things. What expectations are allowed, or who approves them, how are decisions documented, and what happens when policies meet reality. So the documentation piece is key. Kind of like to do, I think, Dawn, you and I have done it a couple of times, just run a running Google Doc or Word doc or whatever, and just write down decision points. You have your DR plan, you're going to walk through it, but then also make notes, make quick notes, even if they're just, quick notes. Doesn't have to be perfect. Get that out of your brain and go, we need to adjust this or adjust that. Those are big pieces.
Make a document. I mean, here's something silly. I mean, and I'm totally playing the mom role in this podcast here
today.
But when we got our generator a couple of years ago, because we knew we needed one, and so we got one, we actually all went out, hooked it up, figured it out, and wrote down the steps and created a Google Doc for our family. So then if one of us isn't home or it's just our son, he actually has a document on how to do it. And so again, it's documented. Document, put it down. We have a policy and procedure of how to do it. Because don't you know, when things happen, you have to be responsive pretty quickly. You don't have time to figure it out. You want it to be, documented and okay, we've done it. And also we run through it every year. We practice. Again, that's why we're talking about this, is tabletop exercises. We practice personally in our own home, practice certain things. What if this happens? What do we do? Where do we go? So it's all real important. Like I said, I'm feeling like I'm being the mom here, the parent, but this is really, really important to practice to exercise your tabletop every year. Things change.
Yeah, like generator or even phone call. Well, generator, there's like 6 steps that you have to go through, right? But if you miss one of the steps, it doesn't work. And also, you're dealing with 220. You're dealing with high power, electricity. Want someone to die or have a problem with that, and set it up beforehand. Like this storm, we just kind of got through. Everything's set up, everything's ready. I got to flip one breaker, and we're up and running. So your house, maybe you have a UPS, flip it up, run it, and make sure that works. Or we have a power wall. Or if you have nothing, there's that could be a plan as well. It's like, hey, I don't have any backup. I have to notify my leadership, let them know I'm down. I don't have any backup.
Yeah.
That's key. Now, it is very cold. You have to think about where to go when you need to get heat, right? You got yourself, you got your pets, maybe you have loved ones, maybe you have elderly, your folks you're living with you or whatnot, what that looks like. You got to make sure that what's the plan there besides calling. Yes, that's there, but it's like they need to be working. They need to be helping people that have critical health issues instead of you didn't plan appropriately and now I've got heating issues. So,
yeah.
Boy, now frozen pipes, Dawn. We don't like frozen pipes. We haven't had any.
It hasn't happened to us. Thank
Doesn't
goodness.
happen. So so we're in Central Texas. So in the South, primarily all the water runs up in the attic. So that usually is what happens. It gets cold in the attic. Or you have an outside wall. We've got one shower head on the outside wall. And what happens? It does sometimes freeze, but it has to be cold, like 10 degrees for like days. So what you do is drip the water, right? Or if you have zones, shut the valve off. Or if it's really bad, you could shut the water off to the building, to the office, whatever you need. And then that goes into, Dawn, you talked about having bottled water. You know, we can get through some time without a flushable toilet a little bit. But you can't get dehydrated. So you have to make sure that you have some water, and even those like MRE packs, those little adventure packs, just to keep things going. Yeah. But also make sure
as far as a facility.
Yes.
Go ahead. Oh, yeah. Just you may not be the property manager. So if a couple of your workers go into your office, and they're going to obviously call you, but then you're going to, or they're going to say, who's the property manager? I need their number. So also having that documented is who you call, who your property management is, who your utilities are through, your gas lines are through, your everything. And so then if you aren't there, but you've got your staff, then they know who to call because it's documented. So that's really important.
And know where your mechanical rooms are, like at your home, know where your water comes in. How do you turn the water off? Where's your panel? Where's your breaker? How do you turn a breaker off if you have a problem? In an office setting, how do you turn it off to your suite or your building? Or you're right, call the landlord and they will tell you how to do that. Or they'll get, the plumber or electrician to turn that off, because you can save a lot of time, damage, and money by shutting things off, inappropriate quickly. And then understanding what really happened. Was it a pipe? Was it just a whatever? Things break. Things break. So, and also those, you talked about the facilities and everything. Also make sure you document, okay, here's your landlord's information. Okay. But also don't forget your other vendors, your IT, maybe your alarm system, maybe a sensor went off and alarm's going off.
Yeah.
Fire, local metro fire, like what is out? Who do you call? Yes, 911 will help, but also there's, like here, 830 numbers you can call and get help, making sure you know who's coordinating all that. So. Now, what about extended disruption? What about like, the time of this recording, I know there was massive 365 outages last week, and extended disruption is 3, 4, 5, 6 hours that happens. So, how do you keep your business up and running? Even though email is not a critical system, it's become a critical system, right? But understanding, how long is the power going to be out, or how long is IT going to have to work with internet? And then what about client requests? How do you work through those?
Yep. Lots of different scenarios you can run through. Yeah, but it's not just about weather. This isn't just about weather. It's about, and we're talking about it because we are going through a lot of weather right now. The whole country is going through weather, lots of freeze, lots of really random weather patterns. But this is leads into obviously cyber attacks. Physical attack. I mean, your building is shut down. I mean, look at it this way: if there's a severe storm or something, and what if windows are bashed in or something, people could loot. You could have things stolen. You could have, I'm going to get into there. I got into your server room and I was able to, after the storm, get into it. I mean, you've also got that type of thing too, that can happen. So lots of pieces to these exercises that you can.
Every one of the frameworks, from HIPAA to ISO to SOC to High Trust or NIST, they also have physical controls. And physical means who has access to the building, to your home, to your laptop, to your phone, to your computers. Is it secure via, is there cameras? Is there locks? Is there cipher locks? Is there keypads? Is there retina scanners? Whatever there is, how do you protect the environment? Those are the key pieces.
Yep.
And then making sure that, if you have vendors, and making sure that they're true partners instead of just a vendor. And what is the SLA impact to that? What does that look like?
And how are you communicating this to to your clients, to everyone? Is this a banner on your website, something you can throw up? Is this on, a mass text? Is this a change your voicemail? This is what's happening. We have an outage because of XYZ. How do you communicate that to your customers? The worst thing you can do is not say anything at all, because if customers are calling, where are they? We do a really good job here in Texas. I think it's really funny because we are not a state where we're supposed to get snowstorms and ice storms. But we do a really good job communicating way ahead of time. The schools, hey, we're keeping an eye on stuff. We over communicate because the ice here is so bad. When, other states that are they get snow and that's what they do and have blizzards and stuff. I don't think they have as good as a communication in kind of in our experience with other states. But it's amazing. Sometimes you're like, really? But they definitely tell you. They definitely over communicate. So I would say that's the best thing. And we like to do that with our customers too. With do it through an audit. We like to over communicate. Make sure they know they've got different means to communicate with us. But so think about that. So that's all part of your plan too. Think about how you're communicating to your customers. What does that look like?
Yeah. I mean, how early did the school say they were closed today? Sunday
that
morning?
came in on Friday.
Oh, it's
no,
okay.
Thursday. No, I came in Thursday, I think.
So almost like 2-3 days ahead of the schedule.
And we're talking email, social media, all the parent apps, all the, blah, 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 everything. Emails, yeah.
Let people know. That's the key pieces. Let people know that.
Yeah, it was like 3 days before or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that should be closed. Your office is closed, or who to contact, or here's a backup number, or here's a separate email address, or
what to do. Yeah. Yep.
Well, now that we've gotten through the storm like we have, and we did not lose power, I know
Yay.
I was kind of disappointed because I was ready. I got everything ready. I got one breaker to slip, Dawn. Dialed in, right?
There's still tonight, too. It'll still be freezing tonight.
That's true. That's true. Shut down. It'll probably rain in June and shut down. So now what have we done? Okay, now the mess is over. The power's back. We got food. We got toilet paper. We're all set because, speaking of toilet paper, where is the one warehouse that all the toilet paper from COVID is? Does anybody know? If you know, put in the comments or something. I'm very intrigued. But anyway, as I digress, we get everything back online. Everything's a mess, right? What do we do? Now the power is restored. Our systems return. How are we engaging with our clients, and what are we doing with our employees? The key piece is just I would start employees first. You have Slack, you have Teams, maybe you have a text, whatever. Check in on everybody, right? We're all human, and we need to make sure, are we okay? Is the family okay? Is your pets okay? Is your extended family okay? Someone may be offline a couple of days, but you never know. Maybe their parents had a heart attack, unfortunately, or maybe they're helping their neighbor or something happened. Things happen. Yeah. Things happen. Yeah. So check in on your team, make sure they're set. And then also check on your clients, let them know via an email, let them know via the website, be prepared that, hey, we're back to normal operations. Things are going. But some of the decision points or discussion points are key is like integrity checks. So when there are issues, systems go up or down, or connectivity goes up and down. I've seen it where maybe ACLs change. There's a role-based access, right? There's access may have changed in groups, or maybe there's a password issue or something. You really have to do some integrity checks in your systems and verify everything look right. Do the backups run well? Do our DR plans really work? And then your favorite is incident documentation, Dawn, because you like to document things.
Yes, document.
So what's a good exercise?
What didn't come back? Yeah, exactly. What didn't come back and what did? Yeah. And how do we rectify that? So next time this happens, how do we make sure that doesn't happen? How does it make sure that we don't lose our system setups, something in our settings, something that just kind of went off? How do we make sure that doesn't happen, doesn't get unchecked or something by coming back up online? Yep.
Those are key pieces. What did work? What didn't work? What failed? Need more water? Do we not need any? What does that look like? And really, it's always about the learning. Like, let's focus on the learning of the environment and not the blaming. There's always enough blame, right? There's utility issues, weather issues, and maybe we forgot to put fuel in the generator. Maybe the cord isn't long enough, maybe something, I don't know, maybe a breaker goes. Things happen. But learn from that and just turn that, that chaos into maturity and go, okay, we're in the battle, but we're going to figure this out. We're going to get things going. So, and those are the key pieces. So those are the things that, those are the things that you need to take away from this podcast. And thank you for listening once again. And like and subscribe, because the more you like and subscribe, the more folks get to listen to us. But being ready, not only from a business standpoint, but a personal standpoint. Your food, your water, your frameworks. Hopefully you've got some good decision-making documentation and be ready for any type of having consistency during stress. So.
Yep. And we can help you here at Van Raine. If you're a current customer or you're just listening and you're like, oh, I want to know more about them. We can help you create business continuity, disaster recovery, instant response plan. And we can also help you kind of formulate a framework for tabletop exercises. That is a line of service that we offer here at Van Raine. Happy to help you through that, because I think, it's not a matter of when, or it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yes.
Things happen all the time, whether it be a storm, whether it be a hacking, ransomware, whatever it is, there's going to be something that happens in your business, in your personal life, and you need to be prepared. And the better you're prepared, then the better off you'll be. So.
That's it. So now you're prepared. Now you have tools, right? You have the tools and you're ready to move forward. Well, Dawn, I think that was good. It's warmed up. It's 37 out.
Sun's
and it's
out.
sunny.
Woo-hoo.
You're happy. School will be in tomorrow. Well, thank you all for listening to the Van Raine Compliance Podcast with Rob and Dawn. And we hope that there are some good nuggets that you could take back to your business and your family. Until next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.